Welcome back to our channel. Have you ever helped someone only to end up feeling exhausted, taken advantage of, or even regretting it? If your answer is yes, stay with me, because this video will change the way you think about kindness forever. Imagine this. You have a close friend who constantly comes to you for advice, borrows money, or asks for help solving their personal problems. At first, you feel like you're doing the right thing, helping someone you care about. But over time, you realize that no matter how much you try, they never change. They repeat the same mistakes, and every time they face an issue, they come back to you. Meanwhile, you're left feeling drained, stressed, and questioning yourself, am I actually helping them, or just hurting myself? Maybe you've experienced this before, or perhaps you're facing it right now. What makes it so hard for us to say no? Is it because we're afraid of being seen as selfish, or because we don't know when to draw the line? And more importantly, how can we help without losing our inner peace? Today, we'll explore 15 types of people you should never help, not just to protect yourself, but to truly understand the meaning of kindness from the perspective of Stoic philosophy. This ancient wisdom doesn't just teach us to live with strength. It shows us how to preserve our energy and peace in the face of unhealthy relationships. You don't have to feel guilty about saying no to someone. This video will guide you on how to say no gracefully, identify who truly deserves your help, and make your kindness meaningful. Understand why not everyone deserves your help. Learn how to set boundaries firmly, yet compassionately. Discover how Stoic philosophy can help you achieve emotional freedom and peace of mind. Now, imagine how your life would change if you only helped those who truly deserve it. People who don't drain you but instead inspire you to grow. If you want to make that a reality, hit like, subscribe to this channel, and let's start this journey together. Theoretical foundation. Before we dive into the 15 types of people you should never help, let's take a step back and explore the deeper philosophy that guides this idea. To truly understand why certain people don't deserve your help, we need to embrace a timeless principle from Stoic philosophy: the art of knowing what is within your control and what is not. The Stoics, such as Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, believed that much of our suffering comes from focusing on things outside our control, like other people's actions, emotions, or life decisions. Instead of trying to fix everything and everyone, they taught us to shift our energy inward and focus on what we can govern: our own thoughts, emotions, and actions. Let me share a powerful insight from Epictetus. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This means that while helping others is a noble act, it should never come at the expense of our own peace. When you try to control someone else's life or repeatedly step in to save them, you risk losing your energy, balance, and sometimes even your sense of self. And here's an important truth: not all help is helpful. Sometimes, by trying to save someone, we're actually enabling their harmful behavior. Think about it. If someone constantly refuses to take responsibility for their actions and you keep rescuing them, aren't you just allowing them to stay stuck? The Stoics would argue that true kindness requires wisdom, knowing when to help and when to step back. But stepping back doesn't mean abandoning compassion. Stoicism isn't about being cold or indifferent. It's about helping with intention and clarity. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When we understand this, we see that helping others should never mean losing our power over our own mind. Another critical idea is the importance of boundaries. The Stoics understood that boundaries are essential for protecting our well-being. Helping someone doesn't mean letting them drain your energy or disrespect your limits. In fact, saying no when necessary is one of the most powerful ways to honor both yourself and the other person. So, before you give your time, energy, or resources, ask yourself, is this person genuinely trying to improve, or are they relying on me as a crutch? Am I helping out of guilt, or because it aligns with my values? Will this act of kindness empower them to grow, or keep them dependent? By understanding these principles, you'll gain the clarity to make wiser decisions. Helping someone should lift both of you, not leave you drained. And when we approach kindness with discernment, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're honoring the essence of true Stoic wisdom. 15 types of people you should not help. Helping others is a noble act, but it's important to recognize situations where offering assistance may not be the best choice. There are 15 types of individuals you should be cautious about helping, including those who take help for granted, show no gratitude, or repeatedly take advantage of others. Other examples include people who refuse to help themselves, consistently break promises, or manipulate others for personal gain. By understanding these behaviors, you can protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being, focusing your efforts on people who genuinely need and appreciate your support. 1. People who don't want to change. Have you ever met someone who constantly complains about their life, an unsatisfying job, messy relationships, or endless troubles, but never takes any action to change? They keep voicing their problems, but when you suggest solutions or encourage them to act, they nod politely and go right back to their old ways. This is the type of person Stoic philosophy warns us to be cautious of. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Get up and do something. Don't keep saying you will." People who are unwilling to change often drag you into their cycle of negativity. They don't truly want to solve their issues. They're looking for sympathy, or worse, someone to share the burden they refuse to carry themselves. When you keep helping these individuals, you not only waste your time and energy, but also risk being affected by their negative emotions. Your assistance doesn't solve the problem. It becomes part of the cycle. Instead of trying to change their lives for them, set boundaries for yourself. You can listen with empathy, but encourage them to take responsibility for their own lives. Remember, you cannot help someone climb out of a pit if they don't want to climb themselves. 2. People who exploit your kindness. Imagine a co-worker who only reaches out to you when they need something. Help with a project, taking on extra tasks, or doing work they simply don't want to do themselves. You might think you're being helpful, but the truth is, they're exploiting your kindness. These people don't genuinely value you. They see you as a tool to achieve their goals. They rarely show gratitude, never reciprocate, and certainly won't be there when you need them. What's the result? Your confidence and energy are drained. You start feeling exhausted, unappreciated, and may even begin doubting your own worth. Epictetus wisely said, "Don't let anyone walk through your soul with their dirty feet." When you realize someone is taking advantage of you, it's crucial to set boundaries. Learning to say no not only protects you, but also forces the other person to take responsibility for their actions. Remember, kindness is not an invitation to be exploited. When you encounter people like this, ask yourself, do they truly care about me, or are they just using me? If the answer is the latter, it's time to stop helping. 3. People who refuse to take responsibility. Have you ever dealt with someone who always blames others for their problems? It's never their fault. The job is unfair, the boss is unreasonable, their partner doesn't understand them. No matter the situation, they refuse to acknowledge their role in their own struggles. These individuals aren't looking for solutions, they're looking for someone to shoulder the blame or fix things for them. By stepping in to help, you unintentionally become part of their pattern. Instead of empowering them to take control of their life, you're reinforcing their belief that they don't have to take responsibility because someone else always will. As Epictetus reminds us, it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you encounter someone like this, the best way to help is not to solve their problems, but to encourage them to reflect on their actions and choices. Ask them questions like, what do you think you could do differently? This shifts the focus back to them, where it belongs. Helping people who refuse to take responsibility won't lead to lasting change. It only creates dependency. Save your energy for those who are willing to grow and learn from their mistakes. 4. People who disrespect boundaries. We've all met someone who doesn't seem to respect boundaries. They interrupt your personal time, make unreasonable demands, and often act entitled to your help. No matter how often you try to set limits, they keep pushing, expecting you to bend to their needs. Helping these individuals can leave you feeling drained and resentful. Over time, their constant intrusions erode your peace and self-respect. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This includes protecting your mental space from people who don't honor your boundaries. Setting firm limits isn't selfish, it's necessary. For example, if someone repeatedly calls you during your downtime to ask for favors, calmly explain that you're unavailable and stick to it. Over time, they'll either learn to respect your boundaries or move on. Remember, you are not obligated to be available for everyone at all times. Helping someone should never come at the cost of your own well-being. Boundaries are not barriers, they're acts of self-respect. 5. People who drain your energy without giving back. Do you have someone in your life who constantly takes but rarely, if ever, gives back? They might rely on you for emotional support, favors, or advice, but never offer the same in return. These relationships are one-sided, and over time they can leave you feeling exhausted and unappreciated. Stoicism teaches us to value reciprocal relationships where there is mutual respect and effort. Epictetus said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." This applies to people who take endlessly without showing gratitude or making an effort to contribute. Helping someone like this only perpetuates the imbalance. Instead, ask yourself, is this person truly in need, or are they simply taking advantage of my generosity? If you find yourself constantly giving without receiving anything in return, not even appreciation, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. You deserve relationships that uplift and energize you, not ones that drain your resources. It's okay to step back and prioritize people who value you as much as you value them. 6. People who use victimhood to manipulate others. Have you encountered someone who always positions themselves as a victim, no matter the situation? These individuals thrive on eliciting sympathy and use their struggles to manipulate others into giving them attention, resources, or support. They often exaggerate their problems, making you feel guilty if you don't help. But here's the reality. Their victimhood is often a tactic to avoid accountability and hard work. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." People who constantly play the victim are choosing to focus on what they can't control, rather than taking charge of their own lives. Helping them may feel like the compassionate thing to do, but in reality, it enables their dependency and manipulation. Instead of continuously rescuing them, offer support with boundaries. For example, say, "I can listen to your concerns, but you'll need to take the next steps to improve your situation." This shifts the responsibility back to them. Remember, real kindness empowers others to grow, not keeps them stuck in self-pity. Be cautious with your energy and focus it on those who genuinely want to rise above their struggles. 7. People who bring toxic drama. You probably know someone who thrives on drama. They stir up conflict, gossip relentlessly, and seem to create chaos wherever they go. These individuals often try to pull you into their web of negativity, whether by seeking your alliance in petty disputes or by making their problems seem like emergencies. Stoicism teaches us to maintain our inner peace by avoiding unnecessary entanglements. Epictetus said, "Keep company with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." Drama-filled individuals do the opposite. They drain your energy and distract you from what truly matters. When faced with someone like this, it's essential to set clear boundaries. Politely but firmly refuse to engage in their gossip or emotional outbursts. For example, you might say, "I prefer not to get involved in these matters." By stepping back, you protect your peace and show them that you won't be a part of their chaos. Remember, your time and energy are valuable. Don't waste them on people who thrive on conflict instead of growth. 8. People who don't respect your values. Sometimes, we encounter people who openly disregard or mock our values. They may pressure you to compromise your principles, dismiss your beliefs, or belittle what matters to you. These individuals don't just challenge your boundaries, they challenge your sense of identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." When someone doesn't respect your values, they show a lack of respect for you as a person. Continuously helping or supporting them despite this only erodes your confidence and self-respect. To deal with these people, stand firm in your values without becoming defensive. For instance, if someone pressures you to act against your principles, calmly say, "That's not something I'm comfortable with." By doing so, you assert your boundaries while maintaining your integrity. Helping someone who disrespects your values isn't noble, it's self-sabotaging. Surround yourself with people who respect your beliefs and encourage your growth, not those who undermine you. 9. People who never learn from their mistakes. Have you ever tried helping someone who keeps making the same mistakes over and over again? No matter how much advice you give or how often you step in to assist, they always seem to fall back into the same patterns: poor decisions, bad habits, or toxic relationships. These individuals aren't just unlucky, they're unwilling to reflect on their experiences and grow from them. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges and mistakes are opportunities to learn, but only if we're willing to embrace them. When you constantly rescue people who refuse to learn, you're not helping them grow, you're enabling their stagnation. Instead of offering endless support, encourage them to take ownership of their choices. You might say, "I've noticed this pattern before. What do you think you can do differently this time?" This shifts the focus back to them and their responsibility to change. True help empowers others to break free from their cycles, not remain trapped in them. If someone is unwilling to learn from their mistakes, it may be time to step back and let them face the consequences of their actions. 10. People who only take and never give. We've all encountered someone who seems to take endlessly without ever giving anything back. Whether it's emotional support, favors, or resources, these people are quick to ask for help, but rarely, if ever, reciprocate. Over time, their behavior leaves you feeling drained, unappreciated, and even resentful. Stoicism teaches us to value relationships that are balanced and mutually supportive. Epictetus said, "He who is not satisfied with a little is satisfied with nothing." This applies to people who constantly take but never express gratitude or offer anything in return. When you recognize this pattern, it's important to set boundaries and reassess the relationship. You might say, "I've noticed that I'm always the one giving. How can we make this more balanced?" If they respond positively, it's a chance to rebuild the relationship. If not, it's a sign that your energy is better spent elsewhere. Remember, true relationships are built on mutual respect and reciprocity. It's okay to help others, but it's also okay to expect that your kindness is valued and, when possible, returned. Don't let people who only take dominate your time and energy. Focus instead on relationships that uplift and nourish you. 11. People who manipulate others for personal gain. There are people who see relationships as transactions, using others to fulfill their own needs while offering little or nothing in return. These individuals are skilled at manipulation, often disguising their intentions behind charm, flattery, or a facade of friendship. They'll make you feel valued as long as it benefits them, but the moment you're no longer useful, they move on. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Do not be a tool of another man's purposes." When you help someone like this, you're not contributing to their growth or well-being. You're fueling their self-serving agenda. Over time, their manipulation can leave you feeling used, undervalued, and even betrayed. The best way to deal with such people is to recognize the patterns early. Set clear boundaries and refuse to engage in their schemes. For example, if someone keeps asking for favors without giving back, calmly say, "I'm unable to help with this." When they realize you won't be easily manipulated, they'll either adjust their behavior or move on to someone else. Remember, helping someone who manipulates others doesn't make you kind. It makes you a participant in their game. Save your energy for relationships built on honesty and mutual respect. 12. People who refuse to face reality. Have you ever met someone who lives in denial? These are people who ignore facts, avoid responsibility, and refuse to accept the reality of their circumstances. Whether it's financial trouble, toxic relationships, or personal failures, they prefer to bury their heads in the sand rather than confront their issues. Helping someone like this is often an exercise in frustration. No matter how much you advise or support them, they won't take meaningful action because they're not ready to acknowledge the truth. Epictetus taught us, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." If someone refuses to face reality, they're not in a position to benefit from your help. Instead of trying to force them to see the truth, take a step back and let them confront it on their own. You might gently point out the facts, saying something like, "I think this situation isn't as you see it. Have you considered another perspective?" But don't push, it's their journey to face. Supporting someone in denial often results in wasted effort and emotional exhaustion. It's okay to care, but it's also okay to step back and let them face reality when they're ready. True growth only happens when they choose to open their eyes and take responsibility. 13. People who constantly criticize and undermine you. There's a certain type of person who never seems to have anything positive to say. These individuals are quick to point out your flaws, downplay your achievements, and make you feel small. Their criticism often isn't constructive. It's meant to undermine your confidence and keep you doubting yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you allow someone to repeatedly criticize or belittle you, you're giving them access to your peace of mind. These people often project their own insecurities onto others, and no amount of helping or pleasing them will ever change that. Helping someone who constantly criticizes you is a slippery slope. You may feel that by supporting them, you'll win their approval or stop their negative remarks, but this rarely happens. Instead, their behavior continues, and you're left feeling drained and unappreciated. To handle this, you must first recognize that their criticism is more about them than it is about you. Stand firm in your boundaries. If someone makes a hurtful comment, respond with confidence. "I appreciate feedback when it's constructive, but I don't think this is helpful." By addressing their behavior calmly, you assert your worth without escalating the situation. Remember, your kindness should never come at the cost of your self-respect. Helping someone who undermines you only reinforces their behavior and leaves you vulnerable to further negativity. Focus your energy on people who uplift you and value your contributions instead. 14. People who use you as their emotional dumping ground. Do you have someone in your life who constantly vents their problems to you, using you as an emotional outlet without considering your well-being? These individuals treat you like a sounding board for all their frustrations, negativity, and anxieties, but they rarely ask how you're doing, or offer to listen when you need support. While listening to a friend in need is an act of kindness, being someone's emotional dumping ground is a one-sided dynamic that quickly becomes exhausting. Epictetus teaches us, be discriminating about what images and ideas you permit into your mind. When you allow someone to flood your mental space with negativity, it can cloud your own thoughts and disrupt your peace. The issue with helping these individuals is that they're not seeking solutions. They simply want to unload their emotions onto someone else. Over time, this pattern can leave you feeling overwhelmed and even resentful. To address this, set boundaries around how much emotional labor you're willing to provide. If someone starts venting excessively, redirect the conversation. "I understand you're feeling upset. Have you thought about what you can do to change this situation?" This encourages them to take responsibility for their feelings rather than relying on you to absorb them. Additionally, don't hesitate to protect your mental health by limiting your interactions if necessary. It's not selfish to prioritize your well-being, it's essential. Helping someone should be a reciprocal exchange, not a constant drain. Surround yourself with relationships that are balanced and supportive. 15. People who exploit your guilt and sense of obligation. Finally, let's talk about one of the most challenging types of people to deal with, those who exploit your sense of guilt or obligation to manipulate you into helping them. These individuals know how to push your emotional buttons, making you feel responsible for their well-being or outcomes, even when it's not your role. They might say things like, "I thought you cared about me," or "If you don't help, who will?" Their goal is to make you feel guilty enough to act against your own best interests. Marcus Aurelius warned us against such emotional manipulation. Don't be overheard complaining about life at court, not even to yourself. In other words, Don't let external pressures, whether from people or circumstances, dictate your inner peace. When you help someone out of guilt, it rarely leads to positive outcomes. Instead, it creates a cycle where they continue to rely on your sense of obligation, and you feel increasingly trapped. Over time, this dynamic can lead to resentment and even damage your self-esteem. To break free from this, it's crucial to recognize the tactics being used. Remind yourself that you're not responsible for fixing other people's lives. Practice saying no with kindness, but firmness. I understand this is important to you, but I can't help right now. Remember, saying no to someone else doesn't mean you're a bad person, it means you're respecting your own limits. Additionally, reflect on whether your sense of guilt is misplaced. Ask yourself, is this situation truly my responsibility? Am I helping because I want to, or because I feel forced to? What will happen if I don't step in? More often than not, you'll realize that the world won't fall apart if you don't meet their demands. People who genuinely care about you will respect your boundaries, while those who don't may move on to find someone else to manipulate, and that's a good thing. At its core, helping others should be a choice, not a duty forced upon you through guilt. When you prioritize your well-being and act from a place of genuine compassion, you'll find that your kindness becomes more impactful and fulfilling. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. By protecting your energy and refusing to give in to guilt-based manipulation, you're ensuring that you have the capacity to help those who truly deserve it, and to live a life of peace and integrity. We've just explored a vital yet challenging topic: helping selectively. In today's world, kindness is often celebrated as a universal virtue. However, as Stoic philosophy reminds us, kindness without wisdom can become a burden for both you and the person you're trying to help. The 15 types of people we discussed all share a common trait. They drain your energy, disturb your peace, and sometimes even diminish your self-worth. Helping such individuals doesn't lead to positive change. Instead, it can harm you emotionally and mentally. Now is the time to reflect on your relationships. Ask yourself, is there someone in your life who consistently leaves you feeling drained or uncomfortable? Are you helping someone out of guilt or fear of being judged? Does the relationship offer mutual respect and support? Recognizing these dynamics isn't about blaming or judging others, it's about understanding where stronger boundaries are needed. Remember, helping selectively is not selfish. It's essential for your well-being. I challenge you to take one step today. Set a boundary with someone from this list and observe the difference it makes. This could be as simple as saying no to a request you can't fulfill or gently refusing to engage in unnecessary drama. By prioritizing your own peace, you not only protect yourself, but also create space for healthier and more constructive relationships. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true peace comes from within. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you focus on what you can control, your actions, choices, and boundaries, you reclaim your energy and live a clearer, more purposeful life. Helping others is a beautiful act, but only when it empowers both sides. Thank you for joining me on this journey of exploring Stoicism and the art of helping wisely. Your kindness is a gift, and I hope this video inspires you to use it thoughtfully and meaningfully. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to hit like to support the channel, subscribe so you won't miss future videos, and turn on notifications to stay updated with the latest content. I would also love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment below to share your experiences with setting boundaries or encounters with any of the types of people we discussed. Your engagement not only helps me improve the content, but also builds a community where we can learn and grow together. I'm excited to read your insights and look forward to seeing you in upcoming videos. Remember, you have the right to say no without guilt, and the power to choose kindness that uplifts rather than drains you.